Yeah, I'ma make this shit hot. Oh, I'ma light the shit up. Yeah, I'ma make this shit hot. Oh, I'ma light the shit up.
Hello guys, and it's me again. Welcome back to What If Naruto Got Strong Every Single Time a Sololeveling Got Destroyed Part 6. I know, my intros are getting better, is it just me? Is my intro's getting better, fam, is it just me? I'm joking. But anyway, we gotta start off with a daily little sip of Pepsi. Pepsi Max. 0 sugar, maximum taste. That was just a... Oh, for God's sake, I get a bit paid for that. Yes, I know, there was no Coca-Cola today. I decided I should go on a diet. I'm joking, I haven't got the Coke next to me as well, it's just too far away. Anyway. Oh, I get distracted in these intros. Last time we left off, I left you on a big cliffhanger. Naruto had a dream about this very pale man with red eyes and a big yellow eye on his forehead. And it's killed him. But then he woke up, it was just a dream, and he destroyed the Leaf Village and all that, yeah, but that's all we can say. Like, go for the next part, 70 likes, even if we don't hit it, it'll probably get released, even if it don't get released. Because it's just going to be sitting in my camera roll, probably, because I'm trying to get a bunch of videos recorded. If you can tell in I'm still having the same energy in my last few videos, because today I've just had a bunch of energy, it was a teacher's training, but, you know, interest dragging out, keep on doing it. You don't care about that. If you want to hear about my life, I'll do another channel. But yeah, I just had a lot of energy today, so I'm getting a bunch of videos done out today. So yeah, all these videos, even though they'll get released over the next few days, we're all done in one day. One, it helps me with the story. Two, stop dragging on. Anyway, let's just jump straight back into it. Naruto is now currently standing in the middle of his house, and is still in a cold sweat, thinking about what just happened. Decides that, forget his smug attitude. Yes, he thought about getting rid of it, but forget it. He just got proven that he isn't the strongest. Actually, guys, be back in 1 second. Anyway, guys, sorry, I had to go check something. I can't remember if I've always thought this in the plot, but I don't know if I ever said it. When Naruto was training, while using the shadow clones, his body became so strong that he had to adapt, overcome. I sound like I'm doing my Deku What If, but yeah. And his body started changing to it. And Naruto started realizing as he could pour chakra into his eyes, if he put it into different parts, so his eyes would change, and you recognise Sharingan and Byakugan, but that was all he could ever do. But now after focusing chakra into his eyes, something feels different. Something's more powerful. Remember, he had to focus chakra into his eyes to see about. Remember. Anyway, back to that. Well, I was explaining that anyway. Let's cut back. Anyway, Naruto now understands that he isn't the most powerful. Them eyes that he saw that guy have, he can't even use them. And this is a real wake up call for Naruto. He needs to train. It doesn't matter how strong he can be. It's about how strong he is. Yeah, it's all well and strong saying if I train for 10 seconds I could beat you. That doesn't matter if you can't beat that person then and then. Because what if that person doesn't let you train? So to be fair, for Naruto, he doesn't really need to change. He needs to get up a hand sign. But just like in his dream, the only reason Naruto got off them hand signs, that person was playing with him. But as soon as Naruto managed to fight back even the slightest bit, he was instantly killed. This was a wake up call for Naruto. Anyway, back to what I was just saying. But Naruto, he had a gut feeling, and Kurama told him someone was there. So he focused chakra into his eyes, and he didn't realize, but he focused sage energy into his eyes, and something changed with his. He can activate a Byakugan and a Sharingan. That's it. He can't push him any further. But actually, he can. Actually, no, he can't. But he couldn't ever push his Sharingan or Byakugan further. But after he poured sage energy into his eyes, and after shut up, chair. Something was different. His vision was different. He didn't realize it, but he felt like he somewhat activated the Byakugan. But it wasn't black and white. There was still somewhat color. It was just a lot more powerful, a lot more there. And Naruto went to look into the mirror. He was confused. The white bits of his eyes were turned black, and his normal bits have seen become like a whitey blue. And Naruto had no clue what this is. And that's when Kurama interrupts him and says, "I don't know why, Naruto, but the name Jogan just popped into my head. And I don't know if that's how you actually say it, and I do not care." Ugh, I'm in that type of mood today. But Naruto quickly takes the chakra out of his eyes and looks around. Naruto decides this is not the time to suddenly focus on a whole new power. He should focus on the stuff he can do and getting stronger, then he can look into that. As Naruto's top priority now is to get so strong that in each tune in his arms, he could breathe and he would beat his opponent. Anyway, Naruto decided to ignore all the stuff that he was worried about, especially something Kurama was trying to tell him. After that dream, there was a lingering presence on Naruto. As Kurama could see Naruto's dream, they're linked. They're basically sharing a soul. They're basically sharing a body, mate, if you think about it. 1 second, I'm getting a call, guys. Don't worry about that. It was just someone telling me I have homework I forgot about. But yeah, Kurama and Naruto are basically sharing a soul, if you think about it, a body. So Kurama could see what he had a dream about. And he tells Naruto there's a lingering presence, but Naruto's dead set on getting stronger. He can deal with this later. And he rushes out of the house to the training fields. Naruto still decides that he doesn't want to go over the top, because he still doesn't know if his body will be able to contain his power. So he decides that every day he's going to do a maximum of 10 shadow clones, unless he's on a fight and he's losing. So he summons up his 10 shadow clones and sends them away, and he goes around doing his everyday tasks. And this is something Naruto finally realised he could do. And he goes around and does his everyday tasks. He meets with his team as his shadow clones are training in every little thing they could. They're studying what Naruto remembers from the sacred scroll ceilings, and every little thing they could. And Naruto is actually starting to develop his flying rage and other stuff he could do with it. This is what Naruto himself was doing. He realised that instead of just placing it on certain people, that he could place it on kunai. And that's what he does. He places it on his normal kunai and chucks them about, and he tries working on combos with them. At first his combos work, and that's when one of his kunais don't stick into the tree. And he thinks, damn it, if that happened in real life, I'm dead. And he's always curious why this could never happen to the fourth Hokage, and he actually looks it up. And he learns that the fourth Hokage actually used a special type of kunai that's stuck into a tree far better, having 4 points on it. And he sees them and thinks, for some reason, I recognise them. And he goes to the third Hokage, and he asks about them. The third Hokage smiles and says, "Oh, it's about time." He doesn't say it out loud. And he goes, "Oh, Naruto, you did learn the flying Rasen technique. The rumours I heard weren't false." And Naruto goes, "Yes, sir, they are true, I guess. But the thing is, these kunai that the fourth Hokage used, I can't find them sold anywhere. And I can't even figure out how to make them because they seem a bit complicated." And the third Hokage just laughs and says, "Oh, Naruto, my boy, it's about time he came to me." And he pulls out a box. And he goes, the third Hokage said that these were to be left for, he's trying to think of his excuse. As the fourth Hokage originally wanted these kunai to be given, his kunai attack to be given to Naruto when he was ready. But now he has to think, as that was his son, but the third Hokage doesn't want Naruto to know that the fourth Hokage is his dad yet. So he goes, the fourth Hokage was meant to be asked for these to be given to his predecessor, the person who would carry on his technique. And I guess that person is you, Naruto, as you are the only other person who could use it successfully in combat without any issue." And Naruto goes, says, "Oh, cool." And the fourth Hokage says, "And there's also a summoning jutsu along with them that creates the kunai. The fourth Hokage is very secretive about how he made these kunai, as they were almost impossible to break due to the special way they were made. Almost like a katana, the metal on them was folded onto each other multiple times, but unlike a katana where it's folded 10 to 20 times. I don't know how much actually. These were folded thin strands hundreds and hundreds of times, thousands of times. And Naruto's eyes glisten up, thinking, so this is the fourth Hokage's weapon and I'm using it. Yes, that says what my future has in store. The fourth Hokage laughs, as Naruto doesn't know the irony of what he just said. Or the dramatic irony of what he just said. And he rushes out. He decides that he's gonna get armbands, and that he can put the summoning seals onto, as well as certain other items, and that's what he does. So now, as long as Naruto can supply chakra to his wrist, he can summon his kunais at any time. Even he can summon any amount of them as well. But the other seals are being kept for a later time. This is something Naruto is proud about. So he tries his combos again, and he was right. The flying Rasen can easily stick into walls. I mean, these special kunai can actually stick into walls far easier. And they even have a place for the seal to be the flying Rasen seal to be put onto. And yes, guys, I have a speech impediment if you didn't know. So every time I go stutter, if I ever stutter, if I start speaking too fast, if I pronounce words wrong, that is why. It's not because I'm nervous. Actually, to be fair, I lost being nervous when I was recording a long time ago. But actually, you know what? Let's ignore that. But seeing where where the seal had it to be placed, Naruto got quite happy as he got the perfect setup. It's like when a kid gets a new PC and he starts working on combos and ways he can further push the flying Rasen jutsu. He works on it by placing it into his normal jutsus, such as a fireball jutsu or his shadow clones or any sort of jutsu you can think of. He imbues it with it, so if you're hit by these jutsus, they still get placed on you and Naruto can teleport you at any time. And he practices. He creates a water bullet and infuses it with the flying Rasen technique and shoots it at a tree. And yes, after there's a bullet hole, there's also a seal mark, and Naruto teleports to that tree. And he thinks, finally, that's done. I can develop that later. Now, I'm saying, by the way, them 10 shadow clones were training for the span of 10 days. It weren't just, they weren't getting summoned every 10 days. These were training in secret. Every little thing Naruto wanted them to train on. So like 2 of them work on this, and so literally all the foundations of Taijutsu and all this. So about a week and a half has gone by, and Naruto is still curious about how he could train and get better. And that's when he goes to the training fields where his shadow clones are there but hidden. And he sees a ninja in a bright, like a dark green jumpsuit, kicking the log repeatedly, then punching it, and just working a taijutsu. He's impressed by the dedication, and he actually sits there and ends up watching for a few hours. He's impressed but also confused, as most ninjas would work on combos, not just after they would work on combos a bit, or jutsus, but this ninja with the very bushy eyebrows is repeatedly working over and over and over again on kicking a log. So, I don't know why I repeated log twice. And Naruto finally gets curious enough and walks over up to him. We all know this is Rock Lee. Actually, I know people who, I don't know why people watch these who don't watch Naruto, but they always comment, and yes, I delete them because I can't be bothered with people have to read them. That's my dirty little secret. When I see comments moaning about me saying characters' names before I introduce them, because I assume people have watched Naruto, they always complain, and I delete the comments. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, and he goes up to them and says, "Why are you just working on taijutsu?" Rock Lee actually jumps and he turns around and he manages to calm down after he sees that it's just another genin, and he goes, "It's not polite to sneak up on another person like that, but it's because, to be honest, I cannot use chakra." And now she says, "Oh," and Rock Lee looks down, not ashamed, but just waiting for the insults or laughter to come. But Naruto says, "Well, that doesn't matter, because you look like to be one of the best people I ever met at taijutsu, so you clearly make up for it." Rock Lee looks up and his eyes are sparkling. This is one of the first people ever who have not made fun of him and just pointed it as it is. It's true, Rock Lee could beat nearly anyone his age in taijutsu. But no one ever really assumed that. But Naruto, just after watching him training for a little while, can really see it. And Rock Lee immediately goes from being formal to as if they were friends for years, and goes, "Exactly, thank you." And they just get the talking. And Rock Lee explains how he's always terrible at ninjutsu and can never really use chakra. And Naruto explains how he was similar, but he trained really hard, and now he's incredible at both. But Naruto asks Rock Lee, if you can only use taijutsu, how do you keep up with people your age? No disrespect intended, because what would you do if someone used like a foul jutsu on you? Rock Lee says it's fine, Naruto, and stands up and says, "I'd be happy to show you." They both agree, and they go to the opposite sides of the training field. Naruto says, "I'm gonna start with taijutsu to see where you're at," and Naruto knows he should keep himself at a lower level than Lee just at the start to see where he is at, and they start trading blows, and Rock Lee says, "Impressive, Naruto, your taijutsu isn't exactly lacking either." And Naruto says, "I know, I do train." And they start picking up the pace. Naruto's making sure he stays one step behind Rock Lee, even if it means taking a few hits here and there, but he's definitely landing some back. And as the pace increases, Rock Lee's just even more impressed with Naruto. And that's when Naruto says, time to see what I wanted to know. And he jumps back and does hand signs and launches a foul jutsu. It isn't massive. It's about, actually, you know what? It's about the size of foul jutsu that he ever did as a kid. And Rock Lee says, "This is what I wanted to prove." He straightens his leg and rotates his body in a weird way and yells, "Leave Hurricane!" Naruto can see the sheer force of power coming out of this kick, but he can also see when he focuses down with his Sharingan that no one can really see is active. That Rock Lee is using chakra slightly, it's just not there. And he decides he should test out that power. He focuses more, saging into his eyes, and the Jogan activates. And he can actually see that it isn't that Rock Lee can't use chakra, it's that he has a different type of chakra. And this is going to be a whole new plot added, and this confuses Naruto. But he sort of figures out that this lets him see deeper into chakra than any other. And he can see that when he looks down to himself, he has there's 3 types of chakra. Naruto distinguishes them as ninjutsu chakra, taijutsu chakra, and genjutsu chakra. Naruto has a lot of ninjutsu chakra and a lot of taijutsu chakra, but decent amount of genjutsu, while Rock Lee had very little, ninjutsu and genjutsu, while he had a bunch of taijutsu chakra. And this is what is just radiating off of Rock Lee's body. And Naruto smirks, and he sees you still watching with his Jogan. When this kick collides with a fireball, the chakra disperses it and actually sends a force back at Naruto. Naruto is insanely intrigued by this, but he doesn't dive into it anymore. After dealing with the force impact throughout the kick, he decides he wants to compete a bit with Rock Lee with pure taijutsus. And they start fighting more and more. Naruto increases his pace, keeping up with Rock Lee, shocking Rock Lee. And Rock Lee, breaking a sweat now, says, "Incredible. For you to be able to fight toe-on-toe with me with taijutsu. And I'm someone who's dedicated the entire training to taijutsu. Just what type of beast are you?" And Naruto says, "I think I'm the beast that's going to make you stronger." Rock Lee's confused, but just laughs and says, "That's a tempting offer, Naruto, but I've yet to show you my full strength." Naruto, curious, he says, "Go on then, show me what you got." Rock Lee laughs and says, "Fine then, I promise my sensei I wouldn't show this off yet, but I guess there's no harm." He puts his arms together and starts charging his chakra. Naruto's looking at him with his Jogan activated. You'll be wondering, until I can figure out more of the Jogan abilities, it's going to be used for something else. I will make out some abilities that go with it though, Watching with his Jogan, Naruto can see that pure type of chakra that Rock Lee has is spreading through his somewhat what Naruto can only see as points. But he shreds around as they're known as the gates of chakra, the gates of life, whatever. I can't remember what it's called. And he sees one of them finally open. Rock Lee yells, "First gate, open!" Naruto sees the amount of chakra in Rock Lee and the speed it's circulating just surge as he sees Rock Lee's skin somewhat get a bit of a darker tone. Naruto's intrigued by this and doesn't expect too much of an increase. And that's when Rock Lee runs at full speed at Naruto, catching Naruto off guard a bit, nearly landing a blow, but Naruto just dodges barely, getting his hair nearly cut off. And he says, "Interesting," and he spins his body around. And so does Lee, and Lee sends a leaf hurricane as Naruto creates a Rasengan in his hand and they chuck them toward each other. At the same time, in a cloud of smoke, Jiraiya appears, and so does Might Guy, and Might Guy grabs Lee's leg, and Jiraiya stops Naruto's Rasengan. They both immediately start yelling at each other, not fully aware of the situation, telling them they can't fight no matter what happens. And they immediately both say, "We weren't fighting, we were sparring." Guy and Jiraiya look at each other and suddenly realise what's going on, and they take a deep breath and say, "Phew, we thought there was a fight breaking out." But before Might Guy and Jiraiya can even say anything, Rock Lee and Naruto continue talking as if they've been best friends forever. Talking about what just happened. Rock Lee asks Naruto what that jutsu was, and Naruto asks Rock Lee what technique he just used. They both explain it to each other, and Might Guy's quite interested in Naruto. And she watched Naruto being able to keep up with Rock Lee even in first gate form, and he saw the taijutsu compete. And he said to him, "Naruto, after the tuning exams, would you want to come learn taijutsu under me?" Naruto immediately says with a straight face, "No thank you." Rock Lee hearing this is a bit tore down, but he understands why. Seeing that Naruto is able to do this with his own training, there's no need to suddenly change to a new teacher. That would probably damage his current ability. And Might Guy hearing this thinks and says, "How about this? After the tuning exam and after your teacher okays it, you're sent to okays it. I mean, how about you come train with me for some days, and I will start teaching the 8 gates." Naruto hearing this immediately shoots up on his steps. And Jiraiya automatically agrees. But he says, "You can't, while I'm his teacher, I'm not his sensei." And Guy says, "Oh, then who is his sensei?" Jiraiya says, "Kakashi." Hearing this, Guy's eyes light up, thinking, the rivalry continues to a second generation, looking at Lee and Naruto, seeing a younger him and a younger Naruto. Other than that, guys, I know the story is going slow, but I want to get a bit of power-ups in before the training exams, because you'll see why. Other than that, guys, the next part will be the training exams, but other than that, guys, hope you do enjoy. Make sure you share with your friends, family, like and subscribe. Other than that, guys, peace out. Enjoy it.